the Carson Student Athlete Center in the Schaefer Sports Hall of Fame, it's time for Sun Devil Extra, presented by Spring Hill Suites, Phoenix, Scottsdale. Braden Bell joined alongside Arizona State Athletic Director Graham Rossini. And Graham, first time you've been back, a couple weeks off here and there. How have you been?
Yeah, it's been a minute, but fun time of year.
Yeah.
Championship season is upon us. We got a number of Big 12 championships going on this week. I know we'll talk about that, and graduation right around the corner. So we're officially out of pullover season.
Yeah, we were just saying, we were just saying before we started recording, the madness of March, of course, is chaos around every campus, but especially here at ASU hosting softball, baseball. It gets crazy, but then now we're into April, and it seems like baseball's the only thing that has home events left, I think.
It's crazy. I think we had, at one point in March, 18 of our 26 sports were still in season. Now we're on the other side of April and winding down. Baseball, the lone remaining with home games, hard to believe, but we got to finish on a high note in everything we're doing.
Yeah, we'll talk about championship weeks to come, including beach volleyball. We'll be over actually at the beach volleyball courts in our second and third segments. We'll have some TV magic thanks to our Sean Kristen, who will snap me right over to the courts. It will be a lot of fun talking to Coach Glattfelder in this program. But we'll start the program off today talking about an event coming up on Friday. I know a lot of people are excited about ASU football, of course, and for good reason. It's the Football FanFest Friday from 5 to 7:30. So not quite a spring game, but it will be a really fun event. I know a lot of people are excited, like I said, and a great family atmosphere on Friday night.
Yeah, we're excited about this. A lot of conversation, a lot of planning has gone into this event. You know, kudos to Lisa Young, Jason Miller, Juliana Nicosia, Mike Mateen, a number of others, Brett Wallerstedt throughout the department and the respective teams that have created this concept of FanFest as spring games are evolving. I think we're seeing that across the country, that spring football, as we know it, is different. Some schools are opting out of the game, and we're one of them. We felt like coming off the season that we had, there's a lot to celebrate. There's incredible momentum going into the fall of 25. We have over 6,000 new season ticket holders, and it's a great chance to welcome them to the Sun Devil family and really showcase the stadium. You know, I think Mountain America Stadium is one of the best venues in college football, and in spring weather in Phoenix like we're having right now, not a better way to spend a Friday night than coming out to the football stadium. And as we talk about the event, I mean, there's something for everybody.
Yeah.
It's really a cool event. If you're an avid football fan, you want to see the team and watch some workouts, you'll have a chance to do that. If you're a new season ticket holder, we're going to really get you familiar with the stadium, understand all the amenities. We've got clear bag designing, we've got commemorative Coca-Cola bottles, we've got fireworks, we've got a yard sale, the team shop will be open. I mean, really a fun event, and we'll use every square inch of the stadium to make it all go.
Yeah, and we said it's a family event as well, so fun time for kids as well. There's a family fun zone that's presented by Smashburger. I know there's going to be inflatables, face painting, I believe. There's a trophy area, or a picture area. Yeah, obviously the Coke bottles for the first 500 people, and those are really cool. We'll get a close-up shot of that probably right now as I'm speaking.
Yep.
But also a lot of stuff for kids. There's going to be a photo zone where you can take pictures with the Territorial Cup, the Big 12 Championship Trophy as well. Whole lot to see, and then it's going to round out with some fireworks as well, and those are presented by Multi-Pro Roof Solutions. Those will be just after 7:30, so close it out with some fireworks. I mean, it's going to be a wonderful event.
Yeah, we can't wait. And again, we've talked a lot about kids and families. This is a big part of our strategy. We're lucky to be in such a great city like the Valley. There's over 5 million people here. A chance to create new Sun Devil fans at a young age, and for mom and dad or grandparents or siblings to come out to the FanFest with them. Great way to build that next generation of Sun Devil fans, and like you mentioned, really something for everybody, and whatever you're looking for at the event. We'll have something that should resonate and give you a great night out. Yeah,
it is a night out, exactly. It's not just watching a football practice. There is plenty to do for the entire family, so be sure you're here at Mountain America Stadium Friday, 5 to 7:30 with the fireworks following. Okay, from the football spring activities on Friday, now over to baseball, and they have a very busy weekend at home coming up. A big one against BYU Thursday through Sunday, or rather Saturday, I should say. Thursday through Saturday, all three games at 6:30 over at Muni, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But first, a big series this past weekend against Texas Tech, 2 of 3 against the Red Raiders. Really was an important series for ASU to kind of get back on their feet after a tough road trip, and they got the job done for a winning series against the Red Raiders.
Yeah, needed that bounce back. Coming across a really tough weekend in Cincinnati and heartbreaking loss against Purdue on that Monday. We were 2 pitches away from winning 3 out of 4 on the road and coming back with that momentum that we'd seen a few weeks ago. And that's where baseball can rip your heart out. But the good news is, Willie had these guys ready to play. bounced back and really handled Texas Tech well. Texas Tech's a great program. They had that run not that long ago of 4 straight appearances in the College World Series. I think won the Big 12 3 years in a row. Yeah. Tim Tadlock, one of the best coaches in America. Their record doesn't reflect how good of a team that was, and those were 3 dogfights. Certainly Friday or what was last week? Thursday.
I know, it gets all messy.
Thursday night, Friday into Saturday.
Yep.
The continuation, those 2 games were neck and neck, back and forth. A little weather suspension that didn't damper our momentum, thankfully. And then the finale that, there was a flare late. Thought we'd get back in there, but ultimately won the series and, sitting 3rd place in the Big 12 with, I think, 16 games left to go down the stretch. So a lot to play for and important to bounce back and win the series the way that we did after that Cincinnati heartbreaker. But a lot of fun baseball coming up. BYU has been a great rival over the years, dating back to the WAC days. A lot of our fans will remember that. But we've played BYU routinely in the non-conference as we were a member of the Pac-12, and so it'll be a good fight. Trent Pratt, their manager, a head coach, is a Sun Devil for life. Was here with Willie and myself back in the day, so it'll be good to see TP leading the Cougars. We want to take care of business, and we'll maybe send him home not with a most favorable memory this weekend, but that's okay. But yeah, fun weekend of baseball, and then we've got baseball card giveaway on Saturday. We've got Paul Ray Power. We're going to honor his number on the outfield. Really long overdue. 1969 National Player of the Year, 1st rounder, College World Series champion, major leaguer. It's amazing that this hasn't happened before. So his number 4 will join the elites of Sun Devil baseball. And oh, by the way, he played football here and was pretty good at that. So incredible athlete, and excited to recognize Paul Ray and his family this weekend.
Going back to Trent Pratt, actually went to the same high school as me as well.
There you go.
So we've got a couple tie-ins with Coach Pratt, but yes, hoping to send him back to Provo with the tail in between his legs.
Yes, he was one of the best catchers in America coming in. I was not. So as he signed to ASU, I thought that was my first writing on the wall that my contribution is not going to be happening on the playing field. So,
that's okay.
Yes.
You made a good call, I would say, ultimately. I got to ask you, because you have such a great history in the game of baseball. You've been around the game for so long. You mentioned that weather stoppage on Friday night. Yep. And just the way it happened. The bases were loaded in a tie game, bottom of the 7th. I mean, it was such a high leverage situation. Then there's a pause. The conditions were awful. And also shout out to the grounds crew at Muni. They were phenomenal.
Yeah, John Larson does a great job.
Just a great job. I mean, they had the bags of dirt out there. They had to roll the tarp, of course. It was fun to watch that on ESPN in the comfort of my own home. But anyways, then you pick it up the next morning, or at noon, I guess is what it was,
right,
in that kind of a high leverage situation. Have you ever been a part of anything like that?
Yeah, I can't think of a game like that where the momentum was starting to shift.
Yeah.
Bases loaded. Keen Vu did everything he could to keep that game going. He's out there putting the diamond dry down. Again, shout out to John Larson, Ruben, the grounds crew at Muni. John's a big league groundskeeper. We see that. That's an incredible playing surface, and it was not a torrential downpour, but it was that persistent drizzle that kept happening, and then the field conditions deteriorated. 2 really good third basemen, both that had multiple errors.
Yeah.
Unlike both, obviously we've seen New excel at third base in his Sun Devil career. Texas Tech has a good third baseman as well. So you knew something wasn't right when those guys weren't able to make plays and throwing the ball away. But I can't think of another situation where, you give up a run, now we're down 1. I think there was some uncertainty on hey, could this be an official game? Do we need to get to the full 9? And so it was really important that we tied the game the way that we did. And then you feel like you just have it right there, ready to break open. And it's like, hey, let's pick it up in the morning, guys. So I'd rather be in that situation, though, where you're hitting the pause button with bases loaded and some momentum, and then, show up Saturday morning and back-to-back walks, go up 9-7, and hang on to the lead. So can't think of another game quite like that one, but all's well that ends well.
I think it was also good for ASU that it was Kyle Walker that was up in that situation, the typical leadoff guy who was starting the resumption of the game, mentally a spot he's obviously used to starting off a ball game. So
I was kind of hoping we'd wear the dirty gold uniforms for a couple more innings before the clean pinstripes, but it all worked out.
There were some dirty pants there with the wet infield on the slides back to first base on pickoff attempts. Okay.
Yep.
Anyways, it was a good weekend for baseball, winning 2 out of 3. It was also a winning weekend for ASU softball. Their senior weekend against Baylor, they took 2 of 3 against the Bears, closing out the regular season against conference-leading Texas Tech this weekend. So it'll be a tough test for Megan Bartlett and company in Lubbock, but a nice way to close out the home campaign, a very busy home schedule as always, at Club Farrington, winning 2 of 3 against Baylor.
Yeah, big to finish with series wins and softball as well. Texas Tech will be a really formidable opponent this weekend. Important games as we try to hang on to that third spot in the Big 12, maybe have a chance to play up into the second place spot, which really important going into a conference tournament that you get that 2 or 3 seed and get that bye initially, and then have a chance to set up Kenzie on the rubber and let her do her thing pitching. The tournament format really lays out very well for us as we get in, but Texas Tech will be a good battle test going into the postseason, and so great opponent on the road, important games to finish the regular season with, and then hopefully get win or two there, come back with some momentum, and take care of business in the Big 12 tournament.
Very similar how the standings in both baseball and softball are shaping up. Obviously, the Sun Devils third place in both, but it's very crowded. So it's a very big weekend coming up for softball on the road, and like we said, baseball as well. Kind of staying on the same note, we mentioned it was senior day for Sun Devil softball. It was the same thing for Sun Devil lacrosse. They had a big win against San Diego State, and then Sun Devil beach volleyball as well, who we'll have in our next coming segments. But always good to close out a home campaign with wins, and obviously Sun Devil lacrosse, their program that's really been coming on nicely. We had them on the show last week, and boy, a big win over San Diego State. Yeah,
a huge win, convincing win. Post game, we recognized the senior class. I think there were over 10 seniors that got recognized. So a very veteran team that's playing well down the end of the season, and sending off the seniors with a home game like that, convincing win over San Diego State, headed down to Gainesville, which Taryn knows well, so that'll be a fun matchup this weekend against Florida. And then you look up, and now it's Big 12 Tournament, which we've qualified for on the lacrosse side. So really excited about that, finishing on a high note. And again, I think 2 weeks ago we had our largest single game crowd ever for lacrosse. Almost 700 fans there, and it's a testament to another emerging program happening in Sun Devil athletics, and the local fan base really paying attention. Coach is able to recruit on a national level, and so it's fun to look at our roster and see East Coast represented, Southeast represented, Midwest, West Coast, and building a national brand of lacrosse at ASU, and we're well on our way.
Yeah, they picked up their 10th win against San Diego State. That surpasses their amount of last year, and then of course beach volleyball, like we said, they moved to 20 wins. Hoping to potentially take home the first ever Big 12 championships this weekend. And a perfect segue into our next segment where we'll hear from the beach volleyball program. It should be a lot of fun. TCU, Arizona State, Arizona, Utah, 4 programs competing in Fort Worth coming up this week. So should be a lot of fun. We'll send it off now to the beach volleyball courts and hear from the beach volleyball program before their big week in Fort Worth. Welcome back to Sun Devil Extra, and as you see, we made a location change indeed. We are out at the beach, hanging out with Sun Devil Beach Volleyball today, and a very special guest joining us here. Head coach of the Sun Devils, Kristen Glattfelder, joining us for the second time here. Returning guest, in fact, Coach. So first off, thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So an exciting time, big time part of the year, of course, moving forward into the first ever Big 12 championships this week in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, hosted by TCU. Exciting, obviously, to say the very least. Not very often do you get to compete in a first. How are you and the players feeling about this opportunity?
I mean, we're just excited, what a great opportunity to go out to Texas, and I think this is probably our 4th time that we're going to be seeing them this year, hopefully, and, starting off against U of A, not on either of our turfs, which is cool, and, always fun to play our rival, and why not kick off the Big 12 with that game.
Yeah, you mentioned that U of A starter. That'll be Thursday afternoon, and certainly anytime you take on U of A, that's exciting, and certainly under your tenure, it's been good against Arizona. How exciting is that to, like you said, kick off on a neutral court against your arch rival?
Yeah, I mean, they always play us hard. They have a lot of really good athletes, and it's fun to play against them. It's always a hard-fought match, and has a little extra behind it, and the fact that it's the first Big 12 event is super exciting as well.
In terms of the win totals, I remember when we were talking in the preparation to this season, it was way back in the winter, talking about what you guys did last year, where you guys are able to follow it up with a really good year again, back-to-back years with over 20 wins now. In terms of where you're continuing to build this program, I mean, to do it once is great, but to do it twice, now you're really cooking. I mean, how do you feel about this year and the way it's gone?
I mean, when I came in here, I didn't expect it to happen so quickly, to come in and to, break all these records, to go to the NCAA in the first year. I had a 3 to 5 year plan. And, a lot of those things were hit in year one. And it definitely made this year like super exciting because we returned a lot of our athletes and just being able to build on the momentum that we started last year. And, it took a little while to get Samaya back, but she's a really big part of our lineup. And I feel like we have everyone in the right place and playing really well right now. So excited to go take that to Dallas.
I'm curious in terms of that 3 to 5 year plan with the way this has started. Have you kind of redrawn what you had for the next 2 years or so?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any reason why we can't be competing for a national championship. We are getting a high-level recruit. We're getting really talented athletes. We have people that, want to work hard, want to be a part of something special. And every time we're talking to someone, we just talk about how special it is and like how exciting it is to be at ASU right now with the trajectory that our program's going.
In terms of talent on your roster, sophomore Ava Williamson's been phenomenal. Leader in individual wins, of course, on the year. From someone who's still an underclassman, you mentioned the future being bright. That has to really excite you. What has really impressed you the most about her this year?
I mean, she's just a fierce competitor and really hard worker. She holds herself to a really high standard, which sometimes we're like, okay, you can take it easy a little bit. But she's just been like someone who has really set the tone for our program. And, she's a quiet leader. People really respect her because of the player that she is, the person that she is. When she speaks, everyone's like all ears. And she's just like someone who has been a really big part of our program, and I don't see that changing for the next 2 years that she'll be here after this one. She was an All-American last year and, our most winning player this year. And how amazing for us to be able to have her in our twos right now.
Yeah. Shows your depth. In terms of Kendall Whitmarsh, who's going to be joining us in our next segment, coming from a family with rich lineage in the sport, of course. And the thing that we always hear, and I think you'll probably talk to this as well, is her work ethic. And how great that must be as a head coach when you have a junior who's a leader, who's certainly taking one of the big spots in your roster, being someone who works maybe the hardest as well. What can you say about her and what she brings to your team as well?
I mean, I'm just so proud of her growth. When I came here, she was not the players that she is today. And it's, there's only so much that we can do as coaches. It's 100% because of how much she puts in. Sure. Last summer, she realized that she wasn't happy with where she was the previous year. She was kind of in and out of the lineup, and she was like, no, I want to be in there. I want to be making an impact. And so she went back to her old club and worked really hard all summer. She was a coach, which helps you as well. Yeah. And she did the same thing in December when we had our time off. So that's like a big reason why she is where she is today, and just the intention she puts into every practice, every contact, every lift, every conditioning, and holding her teammates to that standard as well. So it's really an important thing to have in a leader and an athlete on our team.
Coach, we already talked about the Big 12 championships and, of course, where those are going, but also a number 12 that's important in the program right now, ranked 12th overall. And, of course, that means you're right there on the edge of the NCAA tournament contention. 16 teams make the NCAA tournament. So, obviously, this is a big week to try to win the conference, the first ever. That's a given. Yeah. But you also want to try to put yourself in position to make the NCAA tournament for a second straight year. Is that something you guys have discussed? Obviously, I'm sure everyone knows the position you're in, but what's the mentality like going into this week?
I mean, nothing to lose mentality, we have seen TCU a handful of times and have come up a little bit short against them. We have absolutely nothing to lose going into this tournament. I think that we are playing some of our best beach volleyball right now, which is exciting. And I think that we match up well against every team that's going to be there. And we want to go out and finish. We've had some of our best volleyball being played at our conference championship when we hosted last year. So, that's our goal for this year, and just to go out and make the committee's decision as hard as possible with, getting a handful more wins.
Coach, I'll tell you what, it's been a lot of fun to follow along the journey. Kept an eye on your program this year since we chatted in the off season, and you guys backed up what you did last year with another really great regular season. Best of luck this week in Dallas, and then hopefully into the NCAA tournament as well.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
We'll stay here at the Beach Volleyball Complex with another segment when we come back on Sun Double Extra. Back here on Sun Devil Extra, presented by Spring Hill Suites, Phoenix, Scottsdale, and we continue on with our beach volleyball theme. Not a bad place to be here at the beach today, and a very special guest joining us, junior from the beach volleyball team. It's Kendall Whitmarsh joining us. Kendall, first off, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So a really awesome opportunity for this group, and not something that many teams, regardless of university, regardless of sport, gets to do. You get to compete in the first ever conference championships coming up this week in Dallas-Fort Worth, the Big 12 championships. First ever year the Big 12 has hosted beach volleyball as a sport. What's this opportunity like for you guys?
I think that this is just such a cool opportunity to be a part of a new conference and come from the Pac-12's last year. It's just overall like very exciting to see all the new things and playing against the new teams. And also it's just pretty special having like kind of the funeral of the Pac-12s here last year. That was really cool. Now we transition and we go to TCU to play in the big first conference tournament, which is really exciting.
Yeah, obviously it is a smaller conference being in the Big 12, just 4 teams competing, so it's Utah, Arizona, TCU, and of course yourselves. You get to play U of A to start, rivalry matchup, obviously a program you're quite familiar with. Special opportunity there to take on the Wildcats.
Oh yeah, it's honestly every single time we play them, no matter where, whether it's here, there, or again this weekend at TCU, it's always really special being able to, fight for your school and play against your rivals and prove your name and show it to them.
In terms of where you guys are at in this season, closing out the regular season the way you did, great performances here on your home courts. Momentum-wise, got to be feeling pretty good going into the tournament, of course, in Texas. What is the mentality of this team right now?
The mentality of this team is definitely to just prove ourselves and prove how hard that we work, and we nothing is handed to us, and everything is a challenge, and nothing is given. So I think that just having that mentality of just being ready to fight against these teams, whether it's Utah or TCU, whoever we're playing, focus on our side and not really worry too much about, what jerseys they're wearing on the other side, and just be with your partner and have your team support. I think that's really special, and just having that mentality going into this weekend is going to be really beneficial for us. Being
a junior, you've kind of seen the rise of this program, especially last year and now this year, carrying that momentum into the Big 12 era. I mean, what's it been like for you kind of to be a part of that growth and see where this program is really building towards?
It's really special to see and be a part of. Looking back to my freshman year, it's kind of like night and day just to see where we are now and how much I've grown personally and just as a team and with our coaching staff and support system. It's really cool to be a part of and just be a part of the change and be a part of the grow and eventually leave this program better than I found it.
Let's talk about your partner, Tori Clement. A lot of winning going on between you two, and it's got to be quite the special bond. So I'm curious, your relationship, obviously on the court it must be strong, but off the court as well. What's Tori like, and what's your friendship like?
Oh my gosh. Well, I love that girl to death. She is so, what you see on the court is kind of what you always get. It's not even like a court personality. She's just always so bubbly and so fired up and just a great and loyal friend. Obviously, growing our relationship on the court has been really special this season. She just brings out like a certain side of me, and I feel like I do to her, and just being able to have fun when we're playing is like the biggest part, because that's why we started the sport, is to be able to do what we love and have fun doing it. So I think that is just so special, and I've loved playing with her, and I'm super excited to compete with her again this weekend.
So for those that don't know, originally from San Diego, Torrey Pines High School, now you come out to the desert. So take us through your initial thoughts when you decided you were coming to ASU to play beach volleyball. Obviously, this is the closest thing we have to a beach in the state.
Right.
What was that transition like for you?
It was an easier transition than I thought. I have some family out here, so that made it easy. And just these brand new courts was like kind of the deal breaker. I was just like, I can't not go here. I think a lot of credit goes to Paul. At the time, he was recruiting me during COVID, and he made it really hard not to say no. He sold this and believed in me, and that was really special to here, especially in those times when coaches and like programs are super uncertain. And so just having him be like, "You're coming here, I believe in you," I'm like, okay, here I go. So the transition was honestly great. It's really close to home, but still good amount away. And my mom and family is able to come out here all the time, so it's really special to have them.
You
really
mentioned
close.
you mentioned family a couple of times in that answer, and certainly this is a sport that is your family's sport. Sister played at
Yes.
UCLA and was a phenomenal player. Of course, your late father, a medalist in the '96 Olympic Games. What were some of your earliest memories involving beach volleyball?
They go back a very long time. I just always remember growing up just in the sand, whether it was like just watching my sister all the time. That was like a huge thing. I always would be like, oh, I don't want to drive the 2 hours to go watch you play in LA. But honestly, looking back on it, it was all just so worth it because there's so much that I've learned growing up watching the sport and also just having it in my family, which just makes it so special, and being able to play it and continue to learn and grow as a person on and off the court is really cool.
Something when reading up and prepping for this interview, everyone talks about your work ethic. And I think that probably does, maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, come from your family in that background you have. I mean, what can you say about just the fact that you've been around this forever?
Yeah. Well, that definitely helps. I feel like my work ethic comes from just like my passion, and the passion that I have for this sport is unmatched. Like you said, like it's in my family, and also just the type of person that I am. I'm very, I'd say like type A. I get it from my mom. She's very organized, and so I just have this like undying love for this sport, and it helps having a strong work ethic.
Yeah, the work ethic is there, and that's quite the compliment to you that it always gets brought up. In terms of going back to your sister now, seeing what she did at UCLA, the performer she was, how often do you guys talk during a season? And is she giving you active critiques throughout the year?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we talk we talk all the time. She's like my best friend. So we talk every single day, and I keep her updated. She keeps me updated. She's running all over the world, and she's going to China in like 2 weeks to play professionally. So it's really cool to like have her chase her dreams while also like help me chase mine. But yeah, she's my first phone call after a win, especially after a loss. She will be the first person that I call. And I'm just like, let me hear it. And she's like, okay. And she knows exactly what to say, and she doesn't sugarcoat anything. And she's like, this is what you need to do, and this is what you did well. And so I think that's just so special to have like that relationship, because I know whatever I'm getting from her is like support, but it's also just like what I need to hear.
In terms of, well, you kind of just answered it, more of tough love than loving up on you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a little bit of both. She knows, based on what state I'm in, what I need to hear at the time, but at the end of the day, I'll always I appreciate talking to her because of her honesty.
Okay, last one for you, Kendall. In terms of this upcoming week and going to Dallas-Fort Worth and competing in the first ever Big 12 championships, the number one thing you're looking forward to, what is it?
I'm just looking forward to like the whole setup and everything. I feel like the conference setups are so cool. I remember my freshman year was at Stanford, and it's just like a different feel to it. And just having everything just so professional, and I mean, it's a huge deal to be competing in this conference. And so, yeah, I think I'm just excited for that, but also just the chance to, win the first ever Big 12 conference championship. Yeah. Like that's on our to-do list, and I'm really excited to be able to compete and work with my best friends and have our coaching staff, right behind us cheering us on. And, yeah, I'm really excited for it.
Well, it's been a really good year one in the Big 12 for ASU athletics as a whole. Hopefully success continues on the sand. Not behind us, but in Dallas-Fort Worth. Kendall Whitmarsh joining us on the program. Good luck this week, and best of luck moving forward as well.
Thank you so much.
We'll be rejoined by Graham Rossini when we come back. Back inside the Schaefer Sports Hall of Fame and the Carson Student Athlete Center in Tempe. Braden Bell rejoined by Graham Rossini here on Sun Devil Extra. Fun day out at the volleyball courts with the Sand Devils. It was hot out there, Graham, but
you cleaned up nicely.
Well, I had to wipe off some sweat.
Some Hollywood magic, maybe.
Yes. Shout out to Sean Crespin behind the camera, always putting the show on in a big way. Okay, back here with Graham, like we said, and we'll go back to talking about the Football Fan Fest for a moment in terms of the ideas. I know you gave shout outs to several people within this department who deserve those shouts based on the work they did to get this idea not just on the piece of paper, but make it a reality on Friday. You wanted it to be fan friendly, and it seems like you've really accomplished that.
Well, yeah, we talked a lot about it, going back to last summer on we've got to obsess over the people who obsess over us. So much excitement around Sun Devil football, so much excitement about the team. They've finished up a really productive spring workouts. This is kind of the culmination of a lot of hard work, and not only for our fan base, but also for the players to kind of feel that enthusiasm and leave the spring semester on a high note. And our goal is that Spring Fan Fest isn't when it all wraps up. It's really when it begins, and we start to accelerate our promotion of the fall and marketing Sun Devil football and continue to sell more tickets. We want 55, 60,000 people every single home game routinely. We don't want it to be about the opponent. We don't want it to be about the momentum our team is having. We want it to be the place to be on Saturdays in the fall. Kenny's mentioned that repeatedly in interviews. We agree that we've got to be Sun Devil focused first and foremost. It's not about who we're playing. It's not about how good we are. It's about where else do you want to be on a Saturday in the fall in the Mountain America Stadium. And so this is resemblant of that mindset. Obsess over the people who obsess over you. Find different ways to engage our fan base, create some new, core memories and experiences that people aren't used to getting here, and then double down and keep growing it and building on it. And we got to start somewhere. And so again, it's think big, start now, scale fast in what we're doing with our Fan Fest. And can't wait to get it going this weekend, and it'll be a fun time for all.
Yeah, it should be a really cool event. 7 home games coming up this fall, by the way, so there are going to be plenty of opportunities to fill Mountain America Stadium in the fall. But obviously, like you said, I like that it starts on Friday, and I know plenty of people have been itching to be around this program since January. Finally, you get your chance. On to Sun Devil Golf now. The women's program had their Big 12 championships last week. They finished third, had an awesome final day to kind of rally to get up to third after a tough start in that tournament. Men's golf going on right now. Preston Summerhays, Jose Le Ballester, of course, the two big names as far as that roster goes, and they're doing a good job so far. Yeah,
and shout out to our women's program, Missy and the job that the team did last week. I mean, you started the final day down 10, 11 strokes.
Yeah.
Played an unbelievable round to get into that 3-team playoff, ended up losing the conference championship by a stroke, but still top 10, well positioned going into the regionals in a couple weeks. And I think what's important to note is we were, I think, the only school that had not played on that course. Everybody else had competed there. Previous members of the Big 12 are familiar with it. All the schools in the field had a chance to get on that course. We had not. And so, felt that on day one, kind of acclimating, but then day 2, day 3, just played lights out golf and three-team tie to go to the playoff, finish second in the conference, something to be proud of. And I know it locks them in a little bit further going into the regionals. And really excited about our women's program. The men, as you mentioned, underway in Tulsa, really difficult course.
Yeah.
Really challenging environment there. It's a great golf course, but a very challenging course, plays big. And I think this is one of the first times maybe this calendar year, it might have been back to last fall, that the entire team was together. A lot of these guys are on the circuit, playing in different events. We've had some guys playing in Masters and other events in recent weeks, and so to have the whole team together down that stretch run, hoping for a good showing in the Big 12 tournament, and same thing, carry that momentum right into regionals and hopefully end up in La Jolla here in a few weeks.
Yeah, that would be great, and obviously they have been such a fun team to follow. We had Doug Tamaro on the program last week, and he said it best. It's probably the team that has the best chance to win a national championship in terms of spring sports. We hope that's not the case. Hopefully more teams can get in there, and who knows, but obviously men's golf will be one of the favorites, I guess is a better way to put that.
Yeah, no doubt, and they've been around that 2, 3, 4 national ranking all season long, and again, without the full team together for consistent periods of time. So excited to see what they do and very proud of both golf programs.
We mentioned energy, attendance, activating the Valley, of course, got to use the buzzword, but in terms of baseball, they are trending for a really special season in terms of their attendance numbers. We've talked about that throughout the year, so maybe not a surprise if you've paid attention to us. They are tracking for maybe the largest attendance ever in program history, which says a ton.
Yeah, let's push that through. So if you're watching online and you're looking for Weekend entertainment, BYU. We've got Houston coming up in a couple
Yep.
weeks. We'll recognize the 2005 College World Series team on that Friday, May 9th or 10th. I can't remember which. Jeff Larish, we're doing a bobblehead as well, courtesy of Gila River. So a lot of exciting moments to finish the baseball season with, and then we'll get into banquet season, hopefully some postseason baseball as well. But shout out to the fans. It's been incredible atmosphere at Muni. Set a single game record against U of A a couple weeks ago with over 7,000, which was just a remarkable scene. Perfect weather, jam-packed ballpark. We had drone photography. We had some great shots of the stadium that full. Really adds a lot, and that's our vision. We want a spring training fan experience with the most meaningful baseball in the state, and pair those things together because it's very powerful. And we're well on our way. Would love to finish the season at the top attendance on the West Coast, set a record for the decade now that we've been back at Phoenix Muni, and ride that momentum into getting back into a hosting conversation in the not too distant future, and have our eyes set on the resurgence of Sun Devil baseball. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to be out at the ballpark, and certainly, like we said, Thursday through Saturday. Plug that again, BYU, and all 3 games importantly at 6:30. There's not a day game in that series, so Saturday night, come out and watch the Devils as well. Very busy weekend here on campus, despite baseball and football being the only 2 that are at home. You got plenty of opportunities to do things. Okay, Graham, welcome back to the program. It's time for Sun Devil for Life of the Week. Who we got?
Sun Devil for Life is a good one. We're going back into a two-sport athlete. So in the spirit of honoring Paul Ray Powell this weekend, football, baseball, had a chance to be on a Zoom yesterday with Brandon McGee, B. McGee, football, baseball letter winner, Red Sox and Cowboy alum as well. So Brandon's doing some amazing things in Hollywood. He's in the entertainment business. He's got some really exciting film projects in the hopper. He's staying very close to his Sun Devil roots, plugging back in. We've got an event that we're doing in Southern California next month that he'll be a part of as well. So good to catch up with him. Part of some really good baseball and football teams at ASU about a decade ago, and doing big things in the entertainment industry. And he's name dropping all kind of celebrities and got some good things in the hopper. Stay tuned for some more updates there. But B. McGee doing big things, so it's good to connect with him.
That's awesome. I'm going to add on to one from, I don't really get a Sun Devil for Life of the Week, but I'm going to take my liberties here.
Let's do it.
Doug Tamaro last week provided Lawrence Guy, not a Sun Devil, famously, Doug is not, but he plugged Lawrence Guy, and there's an excellent new article about Lawrence Guy that just was put out in AZ Central. Michelle Gardner wrote that, so it was topical. So
Lawrence Guy was, he came out and visited us in Cincinnati during the football season, got a chance to get away for a weekend. I think he was on a bye and flew out to Cincinnati to watch the Sun Devils. Tremendous example. Had a really good idea and feedback for things that he's experienced in the NFL that current athletes of all sports would benefit from. And so appreciate Lawrence staying close to the Sun Devils as well.
Yeah, pretty awesome stuff, and recommend that read, certainly. What a pro career he's had, as Doug said last week. But certainly a fun program today. Shout out to the beach volleyball program, and good luck to not only beach volleyball, but also men's golf for competing in their Big 12 championships this weekend. At a very busy weekend, like we said. Kristen Glattfelder, and Kendall Whitmarsh, our guests today. They did a great job. So for Graham Rossini, I'm Braden Bell saying so long. We'll be back next week for another edition of Sun Devil Extra.